Okay, let me, sorry for the interruptions there. I ran out of recording time on the first one. Then I did a little one. Now I'm back. We'll see if we can't finish it up in this next part here. So let's get back to I guess we don't have to get to the mechanics of everything, but let's get back to the abortion thing and looking for alternatives. Consider what would be, if you aren't able to keep the child, maybe don't want the child, what would be the traditional choices there are adoption. That's one. If you know who the father is, uh, perhaps they have, it's either the father or some relatives of the father would be willing to accept the child into their home if you think that's a good place for the child. And maybe you have a relative or a family member or somebody that would take the child into their home. There's a possibility that once the child is born, that you may eventually want to uh, get involved in the child's life and maybe get back to being a family again with the child. It's possible. It's possible you won't either. So it's all, everybody's circumstances are different and every situation is different. There's no carte blanche rule, but I think there's a lot of people that would maybe at some point change their mind on the decision. If you abort the baby, that's none of those things are options, and it's the death and the extinction of a one-time occurrence that'll never happen again, has never happened in the past, and will never happen again in the future. To me, that loss is hard to even think about, let alone bear. And so there's adoption. There's maybe some family member or even a close friend or somebody that you know that might take the child in. It might be worth, if you haven't been to church in a while, it might be worth going to a church and talking to the good folks there. Maybe they can offer some advice or some help, guidance, if you will, and try to explore those options. Now, it seems like sometimes I see some people on YouTube and on all their social media platforms, young ladies that are pregnant and they're just going to get rid of it. That cavalier attitude, man. Every life is precious. The woman's life is precious. The baby's life is precious, and everybody else's life is precious. And if it was a bad situation or some kind of a thing that happened, it was a coercion or rape or whatever. Everybody brings up rape and incest. That's a very small percentage of what the abortions that are done out there. Most of them right now are done out of inconvenience, which is kind of what happened to me and my lady at the time. But you know. I can only tell you from my perspective, and I'm not the mom. I've regretted that decision my entire life, and I'm not blaming her. I told her I'd support her, and I did, and I still understand the situation was we weren't going to come to an agreement on it. It was unmanageable, so I did what I thought was right. Maybe it's the coward's way out to push it on the mom, but in reality, the mom does all the work. I mean, that's the way I had to look at it, and I didn't like having to support that decision, but I did. And we were together for a long time after that, and I never brought it up again. We never talked about it, and eventually we split up, and we had gotten married, and we had got a divorce. And it was after that one time we had an ugly interaction, and I did finally, after taking a lot of verbal abuse from her, I finally did bring it up, I guess, and rub it in her face. I guess that was not good of me to do that, but people push you so far, and then sometimes you got to push back, be it right, be it wrong, or whatever. So anyway, I also regret doing that. I shouldn't have done that because the situation was what it was, and we made a decision. You can't go back and undo it. So the reason why I brought those possible solutions up is that if the baby is in the hands of somebody else that can love it and take care of it and nurture it, there may come a time that you would like to be back with the baby. And, you might find that hard to believe now, but take a look around. I don't know the environment you're in. I don't know who you're with, or your family members or friends or wherever your life has you right now. Go to the park and you see moms with their babies, their kids, dads with their babies, their kids, grandmas, grandpas with the babies and the kids. It's, kids need to be guided and reminded sometimes, or yelled at if you want to. But when you watch those families together, there's, really, what else is there, right? It's why we're here. It's what we were built for, is to make more of us, and it's in our every atom and chromosome and DNA strand, and it's in us. That's what we're here for. Every species of life basically is there to create more of the same species of life so that the species can continue. And that's just basic stuff, right? I'm not saying anything that's weird or unusual or unknown. Everybody knows that's kind of it. Nowadays I hear a lot of young people saying that they don't want to have kids. That's so unfortunate, because everybody's unique and everybody's special. Everybody's bringing, the only thing that they have to bring to the table is themselves, their uniqueness, themselves. That's it. Nobody else can do that. Why would you want to not have, what is it, self-loathing? You don't like yourself? You don't think you're valuable? You don't think you have something to contribute? Of course you do. Maybe you haven't felt like you've contributed anything, but the only thing you can bring to the table is you, and that's all you got, and that's all you need. I think to not want to pass that on is a terrible loss, I think, to the universe. And you can do it out of good intentions, thinking that there's too much population, and it's a crazy world. I don't want to bring a child into the world. Yeah, those are valid concerns and valid things to say. But I think it's a shame if every mother would give birth to at least one child. At least then the genetic material is going to pass on to the next generation, hopefully. So anyway, I don't want to be too depressing here, but those are some suggestions. Adoption, family members, friends. The father's family members or friends, or somebody, of course, you naturally would want to find somebody that's responsible. I don't want to promote this, but I know there's a lot of people out there that would, I don't even want to say this one, buy a child just to have one. And that's, some adoptions I think are kind of set up along the financial lines, but it's okay. Does it really matter? I'd rather have you sell a baby than terminate the baby, in my mind, because that loss, again, the universe loses, everybody loses if you terminate a child. And get those stupid ideas out of your head. Yeah, I said it. Stupid ideas about it's just a mass of cells or a bunch of cells. Yes, it is. And so are you and me. And so is everybody else. And so is everything else that exists anywhere in the universe. It's a bunch of cells, organized in different ways, producing different results, but that's all anything is. So, that's just such a stupid argument. When I hear people put that out there, it's like, oh boy, sheep can be led anywhere. And everybody just follows along, following the sheep in front of them, right? Think, use your head. Now, where this whole thing started, again, let's go back, is making the choice to be with somebody and to have sex. Maybe you need to discuss contraceptive measures, and they may fail. That's true. There are times when I know men will force themselves on ladies, I guess. I've never done it, but I know there are people that are very aggressive. Men especially are very aggressive. And, it happens. I'm not denying any of those things. I know circumstances are all different. Everybody's different, so everybody's circumstances are different. And I'm not there. I don't know what's going on. It's really none of my business other than to say that if it results in something that you don't want, then you need to deal with it in a way that's responsible. I think I think abortions, that's the worst. To me, the doctors that perform abortions should be in prison. Not doing abortions in prison either, but just going to prison. And to me, they're murderers, and they know they're murderers. Oh, I want to tell you this part too. I don't know if this is the part, I don't even know if I can say it, but I'm going to try to. I don't know if it helps, hurts, or in between, but I feel maybe it's just cathartic for me to get it out in the open. But so anyway, when we decided on the abortion, she picked a doctor recommended to her by people she knew, and she was comfortable going there, and we went. And there was a brief, I call it a count. I guess we'll call it a qualification conference, if you will, and wasn't much to it, to be honest. You'd almost have to go through more to go buy beer at the grocery store. And it came the day for the abortion, and I went with her. I wouldn't be anywhere else. And we went back to the room where the procedure was going to be performed, which was just wasn't anything fancy. I think there was a chair with like the stirrups there, and but it was more like it wasn't really like an operating room. It was more just a room. And I went back. I was following the doctor and the nurse back to the room, and the doctor turned around and said, "Well, you can't come back here." And I said, "Well, I'm coming back there." And he said, "Well, we don't allow that." And I said, "Well, you're going to allow it today, or it's not going to happen, because I'm not going to let her go through this by herself. I was there at the beginning, and I'll be there at the end." And we had a little more discussion, but basically, I wasn't going to be moved. I'm going to be in there, or it's not going to happen. So the doctor eventually allowed me to be in the room during the abortion. He gave her a sedative where she wasn't totally unconscious, but she wasn't aware of anything going on around her. Basically, a blank stare, and she couldn't answer questions or anything, but she could feel what was going on. When he when he started it, I've never heard any human being make noises like she was making. Basically, they were animal screams, but they weren't real loud, or they were, because she was sedated. They were a little subdued, but there was the most horrible noises coming out. Sorry. And the machine that he used, sounded like throwing a piece of steak in a blender. If you can imagine what that would sound like, chopping the baby up in pieces and sucking it out of there with a vacuum kind of a thing. And I don't know if I heard this or not, but I swear I heard that baby scream. It was the most horrible thing I've ever been through. And I stayed there with her until she recovered. And I could never tell her about that. She asked me a couple times, but I couldn't even get the words out. It was awful. And that sort of cemented my mind that abortion is evil and wrong, and it's killing a baby. After the abortion, I had asked some questions of the nurse and the doctor, and they take the chopped up baby and they basically, like a jigsaw puzzle, kind of put it back together to make sure they got all the pieces out. Frankenstein would be proud, right? How would you like to do that for a living? What kind of a person does that for a living? So when you make the choice to get an abortion, for whatever reason you make that choice, just think about that. I know it's a big job to go through a pregnancy and then deliver a baby you don't want. Because of the circumstances, you don't want anything to do with that. Being pregnant for that long is difficult, I'm sure. I'll never be pregnant, but, getting around with that thing growing inside you that you're not even necessarily that attached to. It's a lot to ask. But I'll ask you, please don't do that. Find an alternative. What human beings can do to other human beings, it's beyond comprehension. Anyway, I'm being a crybaby today, I'm sorry. The loss of any life is hard to take. Even people you don't know, it doesn't matter. That life is never going to occur again, ever. And when it's gone forever. The only thing that's left is the memories of it. And an unborn baby hasn't even had a chance to create memories with anybody. So it was here, now it's gone, and goodbye forever. Anyway, I'll quit rambling on. Thanks for listening. I'm sorry to have such a depressing message today. I'm usually a pretty happy guy, but whenever I think about this one, I'm not a happy guy. So have a great day. Thanks for listening. I'm sorry if it's difficult to watch. It's difficult for me to talk about it too. Not that it makes it better to ruin your day, but I hope if this message gets to even one person that changes their mind about an abortion, I'll feel as though I've accomplished more than I might have otherwise in my life. So good luck, and I wish you all well. And if nobody else loves you, I do. Have a good day.